all the way back. And I'm sure that there are people coming to your writing now who haven't read the stuff that's out of print or the old, you know, the older stuff, or can't get a hold of it except by trying the whole, you know, what's it called, 8 books, you know, Amazon used copy thing. So are you planning to get your whole backlist into print at some point?
That's the plan, ultimately. Ideally, Eleanor, my agent Eleanor, would infinitely prefer to make an e-book deal after the print publisher has reverted the rights.
Yeah.
Because it seems silly to give them 50% of the money,
yeah,
just because they were foresighted enough to put, or any other medium now known or hereinafter to be devised, in the fine print of the contract. You know, as fast as we can get back the rights, they turn e-book. And that's the way it's been so far.
So it's in our interests as a long-term plan to stop buying your print books for a while so that you can revert the rights and then buy them again.
Nobody seems to know what does it mean for a book to be out of print, you know?
Yeah.
Since they can print a copy anytime anybody orders one, they can have it in the mail, you know, printed and bound and shipped in a couple of days. So when does a book ever go out of print? And this is a question which one day some court is going to have to settle, you know, or we're going to have to pick some arbitrary date, you know, 100,000 years after the contract was signed, the book is deemed to be out of print.
Yeah, big long tail these days. So how, if
I don't know how this is all going to shake out, whether we're going to, you know, we're going to end up back in the marketplace with our bowls beside us, you know.
Well, that was the question, because really we got to eat. We all have to eat. And, you know, put the roof over our heads and feed our children and grandchildren. So, you know, I mean, 2 questions. One would be if you had one piece of advice to give to your younger self, that your younger self could do one thing differently about the whole writing career, what would it be?
Not a damn thing. Everything led inexorably to Jeannie, and I wouldn't lose a minute of what I have with Jeannie for anything. You know, whatever that cost was worth it. But from a purely mercenary standpoint, of course I would say go back. It's a trap. You know, go find some occupation to pay his money. I don't think I would have enjoyed my life if I'd done that.
No, that's the problem. You know. The unfortunate thing is it's a bit what they call back-end loaded, in that we had the enjoyment and now we're trying to figure out how not to eat cat food in our old age. Although cat food is starting to look better and better.
Cat food is getting better and better.
Yeah.
Especially as the fast food gets worse and worse. There's a convergence.
There sounds like plan in that. Maybe that's part of the grand evil plan of the world domination.
One of the things I have going for me, one of the things that makes it possible for me to survive at all, let alone try and get a little writing done at the end of the day, is there's a store here on Bowen Island called the Ruddy Potato. They're heavy at the organic and healthy, and they got their own kitchen, and they turn out a fine level of food at such a rate that there's always something good there that's really good and healthy, that's at a price I can afford, and God bless them, that is packaged in a size such as a single person could have hope of finishing before it goes bad, you know. And it wasn't for those guys. If I had to cook my own meals, I'd be screwed. There are about 4 or 5 meals I'm competent to cook, but they all take me forever, you know. Then they take forever to clean up after, and I just go down to Ruddy Potato and I pick up, you know, whatever they got going. At the moment, there's something called Thai meatballs yams. Another dish called babuti I've never heard of before, which is hard to describe. It's sort of like an almost quiche-like thing, but it's got almonds and raisins and ginger and they do good things. And serve it up fine. And every morning I breakfast on one of their breakfast pies, which is a little, like, kind of a quiche in a cup. Honest to God, I don't know what I'd do without them, and I know there are a lot of other seniors on Bowen Island who depend on them utterly. You know, I don't know what folks do in the city. For me, I can fall out of bed and in a 5-minute drive, I'm at the Ready Potato.
Yeah. Meals on Wheels in the other direction.
Yeah.
Meals on Wheels, only you got the wheels. Yeah.
Somebody sent me an email recently pointing out that if you compare the costs of living in a nursing home for considerably less money, you can become a permanent passenger on a cruise ship. Most of the cruise lines, if you're willing to be a permanent passenger, they'll cut you a deal that works out to be a lot cheaper than a nursing home. And man, unlimited meals, room service, massages, good health care, company of rich people,
I like it. I like it.
But as long as you don't get seasick, it seems like an interesting thing to aim for.
I have a friend who went and taught writing on a cruise ship for several months, and traded the great, what W.O. Mitchell used to call the great choke saucer of the prairie in Saskatchewan for the great big sea, and went off and taught writing to rich old people and cruised for, 4 or 6 months. I was thinking, that's a gig you could enjoy.
Many similarities.